Oh, hey guys, look, Alice just got here.
Hey, Alice.
Hey, Alice.
Hi.
You walked in at a good time. I'm here with Dakota Jernigan and Ethan McBride.
Hey, hey, hey.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
Dakota has
Yes.
his own farm, Freia Farm.
Freia Farm, got a farm.
You're also female junior.
Female junior.
You have your own board game.
I have a board game, the six.
The six battle boards, is that?
The six battle boards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to show Alice what it looks
Sure, yeah. Six battle boards. Got
like?
so clean. It's on a 1/2-inch grid. This board is hand painted. It's the original board. And then
It's so cool. We're gonna play here later on.
you get a character card or some RPGing elements. You get some resources to mark down. You get a little area to draw your character, and then you play with these little pawns. You get these little characters, and these are hand sculpted little pieces. There's a boss version of the game where you can. This guy's kind of cool, Sextus. And all the pieces are handmade, hand painted, and it's a game that a bunch of friends helped me make. So I was playing RuneScape, played that game for a long time, and had just bought a house. And there's a tree growing in my backyard, a black locust tree. I was like, I'm gonna dig this thing out. I'm gonna transplant it somewhere I want it. And I did that. We had just moved in, had just got satellite internet installed. And I was deep in old school RuneScape, and cut my internet line in half. Think about that, Alice. Think about whenever you get the satellite internet installed. So I was like, God, I want to play RuneScape. And took a sheet of paper. Me and a friend had come up with this idea a decade ago. In 2012, we could never figure out how to play it though. We had all the items, couldn't figure out how to make it. So I stripped it down and I was like, I'm gonna figure out how to play this. So I grabbed like a penny and a dime and drew a grid. And I said, one of these guys has a sword, one's got a bow. And then I started making some obstacles. And I was like, how do you gather resources? And then I had a birthday party and I came up with a boss and had like 5 or 6 people playing the game.
Who was the first boss?
Frog Dog.
Frog Dog?
Frog Dog. He was this giant frog. He would just jump anywhere on the map. And if he landed on you, you just got hit for whatever his dice roll was.
Damn.
Yeah, Frog Dog was wild.
Gotta watch out for Frog Dog, dude.
It was a Mexican pepper shaker that someone had given to me. It's a handmade like salt or pepper shaker, and it was hand painted. You couldn't tell if it was a frog or a dog. That was just
Frog Dog.
Frog Dog.
Thus
Yeah.
Frog Dog was born.
Yeah. And that was like the first kind of like 6th game, besides maybe like a couple of other trial runs. So super fun board game. There's no way you can really get it right now unless you just bug me on Instagram and say, here's $100, make me a board
Do
game.
that, Alice. Bug him.
It looks fun.
It'll be all handmade, like the whole thing. The board will be hand painted. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So on top of everything else we mentioned, you're also a painter, visual artist.
Mm-hmm.
You showed me a entire book of mini paintings you have.
Yeah, tiny paintings. Yeah.
Tiny paintings. Yeah. Man, like what don't you do?
So in like 2017, it was winter of 2017, and I wanted to paint, and I had run out of canvas, out of big canvas. And someone had given me a pack, maybe like 10 of these artist playing cards, or artist trading cards. And it's just this little cardboard things with some watercolor paper glued to it. And I started messing around with some oil paint on one, and then I tried some acrylic, I tried some watercolor, and then I posted them on the internet, and like they all started, people were like, I want that, I want that, I want that. And I was making them. As soon as I would make them, I found that book for like $1. This thing over here, found it for $1 at Goodwill, and it can hold like 40 or something paintings.
These are amazing.
And I just started bringing this with me to my job and showing my coworkers. And like I would make $60 selling paintings, and then I'd make like $36 in tips at my lunch shift at my shitty job. I make more
That's
money
awesome,
selling
man.
paintings.
You also have a comic book.
I got a comic book. It's pretty, it's getting dated. It's kind of ancient.
When was it released?
2013 was Who is Sleeze? It was 4 comic books. Rotten Apples, Mano y Mano, Drunk on Juice, and Ruckus in the Coffee House. And I made Sleeze because of this band called Mega Juice. They said they wanted me to do some album art for them, and they wanted a comic book to come out with their album. So on the day of their release party, I only get 10. I get the comic book finished, but I'm only able to print 10 comics. And printing stuff is hard. Like page intonation and stuff. Like if you don't,
I have no idea what you're talking about. It's
yeah,
so over my head.
it's like the first page and the last page will be the same page, and then only in the very, very center will it be.
So I see what you mean.
To print like that is very complicated.
You'd think there'd just be like a program that would just like fucking
scan it. They will. They can. I didn't have the capability. I didn't have a duplex printer.
I'm sorry, this is 2013 we're talking about.
Yeah. 2013. So I was making these. I was doing some illegal shit at a place that I won't say where it was, but I was dipping in there and with a backpack, and I was printing like 20, 30, 40 comics. I'd go to a printer and I'd start 5. I'd put it in a USB drive, start 5, go to a different computer, start ones on the other printer. Then I'd put them in my bag and I'd go to a different floor, and then I'd do it again. And I'd leave with like some comics. And then I only did that one time. And then I started making, I bought my own printer.
Right. Okay.
A duplex toner printer, and then I burned a hole in it, and I was able to refill it with toner. And I made it to where I think a comic book, one Sleeze comic, so there are 30 pages, was it was 16 cents per comic for paper and ink, and I sold over 1,000 of them.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Just word of mouth to people on the street. 30-page comic.
Fucking hustle, man.
And then it started
amazing.
Kind of, as the series goes on, it's hard to get the person who bought issue 1 to buy issue 2.
Right.
If you met them in passing or at a party or whatever. And then the demise of the Sleeze comic, I feel like what really messed it up for me is coming out with the colored. I came out with a colored one, and I bought a colored printer, and I severely underestimated how expensive it was going to be. It'd be $5 for me every time I printed a comic book.
Wow.
And it
versus 16 cents.
Yeah, and it killed Sleeze.
Damn.
So after this came out,
color, man.
I stopped caring about it, because I was like, yeah, I've got, this has to come out in black and white. It's just got to be black and white. So I'm actually, so this is 1 through 4. This is 5 through 8, all in color. You can get these on lulu.com. This one's pretty cheap. It's probably like $20. This one's pretty pricey. It's full color. It's pretty gorgeous. It's the whole thing's watercolor paintings. And it's very high quality, but it is like $50, I think, or maybe even more than that. And I don't even make a cent from it. So like, I don't even know how it's on Amazon.
That's so unfortunate.
Like, I don't know if anyone else has bought it. I think there might be like 2 of these in the world. It was like $48 for me to buy it, and that was in 2015 is when this was made. So this is 5 through 8, and then I have issue 9 and 10 completed, but they've never been released. And then I have 2 issues that I'm planning on making and then releasing all those with both of these all in black and white at some point next year. So imagine another book. So it'd be, 3 of these would be the whole series. And it'd close out.
Yeah, so I was about to ask, is it gonna have a conclusion? Okay.
Yeah, it'd be like a Joseph Campbell circle for a story.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So thank you, Mega Juice, to Wes and Keegan for getting the Sleeze going. And then they asked me to do a play. They're like, do you want to do a play with us? And you write like a musical, and we'll call it the Juicy Sleazical. So,
oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So then I started writing songs for Sleeze and got actors together. You can watch it on YouTube if you type in the Juicy Sleazical. It's JOOSY Sleazical. Very poor quality. This is in 2013 or so.
I mean, yeah.
But it was a great event. 100 people came out. It was free. It was my first play. It was a play / musical / chaos. And then we did a second Sleazical with New Wave Rebellion.
I love New Wave Rebellion, dude.
Stefan, Josh Rawlings. So Josh Rawlings was the Sleeze in the first Sleazical.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Is like, it's been so long since I've seen any of them. Is he the front man?
Yes.
Okay. Man, dude, that's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
But
casting.
Sleeze was always a different person. Every time it's been a different person.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah. There's been 4 Sleezes. There's been 3 Sleazicals, but he's appeared in other things too.
Is the Sleazical the comic story, but just the musical, or is
it's slightly different. It's not exactly reflected as how it's reflected here, but it's a fun playing with the ideologies. And then a lot of songs.
Okay. Hell yeah.
And I can give you a song. I can give you the theme song for Sleeze.
What's the theme song?
Go ahead.
Who's walking into your house without keys? Hey, Sleeze. Hey, Sleeze. Who's pinching out of your bag, puffing your trees? Hey, Sleeze. Hey, Sleeze. Fist fight, he'll kick you in the knee. Bathrobe is just a place to pee. Pulls out his sleazer, he won't say freeze. He whistles a tune as you scream and please. Hey, Sleeze, Sleeze, Sleeze.
Hell yeah, love that.
Sleeze.
Hell yeah, dude. Sleeze.
Yeah, I got a lot of songs for Sleeze.
I'm gonna have to watch that. Go watch that, Alice.
Yeah,
for sure.
Been 3 of them, all very different. The third one's a noir. I looked for it recently, couldn't find it. The second one is New Wave Rebellion playing. That one's great. Joshua James Koloski as Piggins, as Officer Detective Piggins, is a badass character. He
sounds like it.
Does an awesome job.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Sleazicals, the Sleeze comic, it was a lot of fun. I've slowed down on it, but I do plan on finishing it.
Gotcha.
I want to know more about your small art. So where do you get the inspiration for a lot of the I really enjoyed your scenery pictures. Where do you go out and see these places and just...
So I call these kind of like mindscapes, like visionary mindscapes. And these are just places that I construct them in just a few minutes.
Right. Okay.
On these,
I really enjoy your art style a lot.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Can I show Alice real quick?
Yeah,
of course.
And these, if I'm not mistaken, these are all for sale. You can hit up Dakota on his Instagram.
Yeah, $20 a pop. Every one of them is $20.
That's not very good lighting, but and you can see that they're very fucking intricate.
So much detail.
When I first saw these, I was like, so like you made this on a canvas and then shrunk it down, right?
That's the only way.
And he's like, no, these are all originals. I did it this size. And it's like, for scale, here's my fucking thumb. Like,
yeah, they're 2.5 by 3.5. They're the size of a credit card or ID.
Yeah, it's fucking sick.
Yeah, I've got probably 40 or 50 of them.
Yeah, check it out.
I do a lot of big canvas work too. So you can find these at the WeHo Art Crawl. I do that. It's the first Saturday of every month, and I do bad portraits there. I sell these tiny paintings. I also sell hand-drawn magnets that are like little bitty drawings the size of a dime on a magnet. And y'all can actually have one of these, and whichever one's your favorite, stick it on your fridge and use it for your water bill.
Nice.
Make
my water bill a little bit happier.
Yeah.
They're all so wonderful.
Speaking of gifts, Dakota was also kind enough to bring me so many great veggies from your garden.
Oh yeah.
Squash and a couple that was it.
There's arugula, and then it was sassy brassy, which is arugula, mustard, kale, tatsoi. It's a really good mix. It is spicy. It's great on sandwiches. Okay. You can also cook it and saute it for about 1 minute with some oil and salt, a little vinegar maybe. It's great on sandwiches. It's great chopped up a little bit as a salad. You do need a nice dressing for it though, because it's pretty spicy, and some vinegar and stuff can kind of counteract that spice.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead. Spicy lettuce?
So there.
Excuse me. Let's go back. I don't like lettuce, but spicy lettuce, that interests me.
Have you ever had like arugula?
I love arugula.
Okay, so arugula and most of these spicy greens, well, all of them. The reason the salad mix called sassy brassy is brassica is a plant family, and it's where it's like cabbages, like kale, collard greens, mustards, arugula, all of that stuff comes from.
Okay.
So all like the mustard and the arugula is what's spicy in the mix. So you get that peppery spice from the arugula, and then you get more of a horseradish from the mustard. Like, the spice of mustard, like yellow mustard.
Yeah.
Like
it's that kind of spice.
Yeah. So that type of mustard is made from the mustard seed of the mustard plant, but the leaf is very spicy and very delicious. It's like it's not a capsaicin spice. It's a horseradish, more like wasabi kind of spice.
Gotcha.
Opens up your nose. It's really good.
So let's talk about like what got you on the path of you. So when we first talked before you came over, like you told me that you and your partner work on a farm. What got you guys into on that road? Like what made you decide to go that way?
So it was 2013, and a friend had said, like, hey, I went to Hilton Head Island and lived with my cousin there, and I waited tables and at like a cool daiquiri bar, made bukus, and it was pretty cheap. I think you should go out there and work. So me and Sperry, my partner, our lease had ended. We'd lived with each other for a year, and we go out to Hilton Head Island. We found this little town called Bluffton, and we stayed at a campground, and we loved staying at this campground. We ended up working at this shitty, like, faux 90s cruise ship looking restaurant that served like frozen fish from across the world on the ocean.
That's awesome.
Where like the place next door we wanted to work at sold like $10 fish coming in on a boat, like with water coming in. Like, that's where I wanted to work, but I ended up at this shitty place. Well, we loved living on this campground, and we were like, let's start a campground. We're like 23 at this time. She's 24, I'm 23. And we wanted to start a campground. And we wanted to have like earth bag homes, school bus, tiny house, yurt, some gardens. And then we go to our next place. We live there. We didn't really save up much money from our camping trip. And we start a little garden and it is a disaster. And then my grandpa dies. And my grandpa, he always had gardens. Like whenever I was growing up, I would just like eat tomatoes with him at like 6 o'clock in the morning every day and in the summer. And I'd written down in a journal a couple times, like learn how to grow cucumbers and tomatoes from grandpa. And then he died. And I was like, I really started reflecting on that. And then it was 2015 and me and my partner had moved into a house, didn't have the internet, didn't have a TV. For most of our time together, we didn't have the internet or a TV. But we had this Mother Earth magazine, Mother Earth News magazine, and it had Jean-Martin Fortier in Quebec, Canada. He was farming on 1.5 acres, him and his wife, Maud Helene, and they were making $150,000 a year farming 1.5 acres, which is like 66,000 square feet. It's not all that huge. Like this house is 1,000 square feet. Like, 66 of this house.
I'm not even sure. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So like it wouldn't be like, oh my God, this is like super fucking crazy. I mean, it's a lot of land, like for a couple of people to manage. So the campground thing, land is so expensive and unaffordable.
Oh yeah.
We were like, we had started saving up money. We'd saved up money for like 2 years at this point. And if we wanted to get like 20 acres for a cool campground or something, it's probably going to be like $500,000 or something.
No way.
So we found out about this thing through this article. And then the next place we moved into, we had the internet, and I found out about permaculture, heard about permaculture, and then I just kind of like fell into that rabbit hole and went way deep into permaculture. Got the designer's manual and read it. It's probably like 500 pages long. And then I interned at a farm, or tried to, and after like 4 days, it just didn't work out. And then I spent the whole next year gardening. And then a buddy of mine got an internship at a place called Spiral Ridge Permaculture. And then the following years, 2018, me and my partner got an internship at Spiral Ridge, and they were making a market garden, which was like what we wanted to do. And then after that internship, and this was years of saving, you're talking 5 years of saving. We saved up like 25 grand, and we were both only making like 20 grand a year.
Wow.
Ooh.
We were saving 20% of our income.
That's crazy.
Like say we brought home $800, we were putting away 160 of it.
I mean,
real shit.
Trying to make that dream happen.
Real shit. Yeah. Then some crazy stuff happened, and basically we had to go, and we were like, hey, it's time to buy a property. So we got a realtor. We looked around. We probably went to like 15 different properties, and then we found this one. We were like, it's out of budget. We talked to our loan guy, and he was like, y'all can do it. We did it. And then within a week, we were just busy as hell, just starting a farm, cutting down trees, laying out huge 100-foot long tarps, collecting cardboard, buying like just dump truck after dump truck of wood chips and compost. So my grandfather dying was a big catalyst for that. And I'd like to go into a song that remembers him if I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can wear my stilettos, but don't break the heel. Those shoes are expensive, and you I'd have to kill. Well, I had a grandpa, and his name was Bill. You can wear my stilettos, but don't break the heel.
Hell yeah.
William J. Jernigan.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Good dude.
Is that your mom's dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Maternal. Yeah.
So your whole family from here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so like
My grandma moved around a bunch, and then like
yeah.
met my grandpa. His his family was here for a long time, for generations.
Cool.
So what all crops do you grow on the farm?
Over 20
Damn.
plus like over 20 food crops,
Right.
plus flower bouquets.
Wow.
Yeah, we focus mostly on greens. We do lettuce from like April until December. And in Tennessee, that's tricky. It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
And that we kind of like pride ourselves on that. And then we do things like arugula, the sassy brassy is super popular. We grow sunflower shoot microgreens. We grow carrots, turnips, radishes, summer squash, winter squash, cucumber, tomatoes, okra, peppers, onions, basil.
Have you had any luck with corn?
We grow bloody butcher corn, but usually for personal use. So
Yeah.
it's a red on red, red on blue, red on yellow corn.
Huh.
And it's a dent corn, which means that you harvest it when it looks like the kernels have had someone push their fingernail into it.
Yeah.
And we make grits out of it. It makes a beautiful purple, red flecked grit.
Sounds amazing.
It's really
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
They're really good. They're good. It's like a lavender. Yeah, imagine like Alice's dress up here with a little bit of like some red flecks.
Nice. That's some trippy corn, bro.
I love corn. I eat corn all the time.
What kind of music did your mom and your grandparents listen to in the house?
There was a lot of country, a lot of just like modern day, like Alan Jackson and Billy Ray Cyrus and stuff at the time. And then my mom listened to everything. She listened to a lot of rock, a lot of pop, R&B, hip hop, rap. My grandma listened to like the Beatles and the Eagles, and my uncles were listening to like Sublime and Zeppelin and Limp Bizkit and Kid Rock and yeah.
Sounds a lot like my family. Yeah.
Nice. You got a little medley.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of music. I really don't.
Really? Interesting.
I love music.
Right.
I feel like I drank some weird acid when I was a kid and started listening to Tool when I was like 10, and just like fell in love with Tool in a perfect circle when I was like 10, and then really, really deeply by the time I was like 14. I was like your music sucks. But like now, like I can tolerate like Nickelback. Like I can be like, look at this photograph, and like I don't give a shit. Like
We're talking about that. Yeah, good experience listening to Nickelback.
Yeah, like so tell me what you want, what you like. I don't care if Spice Girls comes on or like whatever. I love music. Mars Volta is one of my favorite bands of all time. Mega Juice, that got me to do the Sleeze comic, they are so good. They're a two-piece. Their songs are 2 minutes long.
Hell yeah.
And
Fast and Loud.
Yeah. You got some great songs. I love stuff like Pixies and Violent Femmes.
Yeah, man.
I want my stuff to have a little, I don't know, well, music is great. I listen to like William Owenbire and some Radiohead, Can, one of my favorite bands of all time.
Can?
Communism, Anarchism, Nihilism. They're like a 70s Japanese band or German band with a Japanese lead singer.
Oh shit.
Damo Suzuki.
Sounds fun.
They're the shit, man.
That's awesome. I look them up. What about like non-musical pieces of art that were like really formative to, I guess, not only your art but like you as a person, like movies, comics, this media really profound to you?
When I was like 13, somebody showed me some Dali, and I really liked some Dali. Salvador Dali.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
And I like that, and then
I can see that.
For sure.
Magritte, the guy that does like the people like falling in the sky and they're all in like business suits.
Oh, dude, I love that painting. They're not falling though, they're like standing, right?
Yeah, they're standing.
In the business, dude, that's such a I didn't know who made that. What's his name?
Magritte. I don't know how to spell it. It's like Margritte. I don't know. And his first name's like Renne or Rene.
Okay, I bet
terrible spelling.
Put in painting. Come up.
Yeah,
dude, I've
famous surrealist. He's great.
And like Hieronymus Bosch.
I love Hieronymus Bosch. Like in the like 1400s.
Man,
like
dude's crack, dude.
What like entheogens was this guy drinking?
Complete mad lad. It's out of his mind.
Like, dude, he was drinking that, like, I don't know if it was like the like Ulysses beer or whatever it was, like
so much shit.
And like and like in Greece. Like, oh geez,
I've heard a good argument that they were taking like ergot wine, like LSD wine.
Ergot, it could have just been beer, but it's brewed with ergot.
I also just on a side note, I heard recently, I have friends that are really into Hebrew literature and like Gematria, which is like Hebrew numbering systems and stuff. There's like sacred geometry number shit all throughout the Torah. Like anyway,
that's interesting.
It goes deep, man. I got a friend that's
what the whole book is.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. That's all it is. And it goes on past the Torah into the New Testament too. Still has sacred geometry ties to it.
I'm not nearly as familiar.
Okay.
Just because I mean I did grow up with Christianity, but like I have a friend that's like theologian, and he's like deep in like reading in Hebrew. So I just talking to him, he's been on a few times, been on podcasts a few times. Shout out to Danny. But I know more about that one. But that's cool that it's in the Greek Testament as well.
It's probably in like, all the like the Vedas and like all that stuff just encoded. I think like in Norse mythology. And like it is it's these huge celestial things that happen on time scales that almost humans shouldn't even understand to begin with. It's like sorry, I farted. It's the precession of the equinox. Really, right? Is what all these numbers tie into. Like the number of heads, the number of Buddhas inside of the number of Buddhas, like all of it is it's the equinox, it's the calendar of space, and it's the movement from one age into the next age is what all these sacred geometry numbers are leading us to. Whenever you put them out on like a big it's a clock, it's an eternal clock that like one rotation, so one day, I don't know, it's like 72,000 years like that. Yeah. 72,000 years. So, and that's where like you take that number and you divide it by 12, and because the sky's in 30-degree angles, and you get like it's like 2,560 years for every age.
Those ancient Israelites were brilliant. They were so, like, to me, like, I'm in the camp of alien interference when it comes to things like pyramids, but like to me, the Torah is an even more impressive human feat than the pyramids, because it's like that, it's so intricate, and other things have come after it, like we do a book club on the podcast too, and this month we're reading Wizard of Oz, and like Wizard of Oz, or like Homer's Odyssey, or like Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, read like religious text. Like there's so much in it. Like I just found out recently that L. Frank Baum, the guy that wrote Wizard of Oz, knew Helena Blavatsky, who founded Theosophy. He was in with these high society occultist types.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's all throughout Wizard of Oz. I was
interesting,
dude. It was like I got into it kind of passively. I was like, oh, we're reading Wizard of Oz this month. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, there's shit in here.
A lot of my artwork and poetry and stuff dabbles on the edge of the occult. It dances and alludes to it. I've it several times. I've wanted to like join a secret society, and I'm like, no, I don't. I want to I just want to like know the ideas that they're exploring, and then be able to explore them on my own.
Yeah, so, I don't want to join anything to have the knowledge. I just want the knowledge.
No women allowed. Like, fuck that.
You hit the nail on the head, Dakota. Like, I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and I think doesn't like make it like special, I guess, but I do have an insight to see like how cults develop, and it's not necessarily always religious, right?
One of my favorite artists locally, Ziona Riley, her whole set is like about how to not join a fucking cult, basically. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen Ziona play. She's amazing. She's part of Heinous Orca. If y'all have ever seen Heinous Orca, she's the bassist for Heinous Orca.
Okay, cool.
And but she has an amazing acoustic set too, that like the last time I saw it, I think I cried for like 4 different songs.
Oh wow. That's powerful.
Yeah,
it's all about not joining a cult.
A lot of
it, yeah.
And like, I don't know about the things that she's been through and why her material is what it is, but the material is so powerful that it strikes me. She has a song called like Jesus Christ Lightning Amen, and it's my favorite song by her is, I believe it's called Bury, and Bury This Heirloom, and the chorus is like, I won't inherit the sins of my father or inherit the sins of my mother. I'll bury. And Alice, go look up some Ziona Riley.
Yeah,
Do a little, do a
I want to
little.
talk to her right now. You think we can talk her into a rabbit hole?
I bet. Yeah.
You could come
Yeah.
back and bring her with you.
Yeah. She's played a female junior
Okay, cool.
with me before at Betty's.
Yeah, let's touch on that
Okay.
briefly. You do female junior.
Female junior.
Yeah, which when I saw you, you were with the drummer at Betty's and you switched out. You got on the kit and he played guitar for a bit. It was completely wild. You did just a segment where it was just spoken word, I remember.
Okay.
Yeah. And like it was just the two of you, but you brought the fucking house down.
All
It was
right.
wild as fuck.
Yeah.
And you said you play with a different. That's the only time I've seen you. So you play with a different act or a different associate, or you play by yourself.
Yeah. So it's me. I'm female junior. I'll wear these clothes and I'll have a dress on underneath. I'll take off my shirt, undo my pants, dress falls out. I put on a purple wig, and then the basically the idea is like, I was like, why are there so many fucking, Bob Juniors and Dylan Juniors and Robbie Juniors? I was like, there needs to be more goddamn. There's so many great women out there. I'm more of a matriarch, like off with the fucking heads, matriarch kind of guy. So I was like,
with the heads.
there needs to be.
That's a trigger word for Alice. Trigger phrase for Alice. So off with their heads. That's a Mad Queen thing. So I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So I was like, there needs to be more female juniors in this world. And I was like, and I'll start. Yeah. I'll just start it.
Yeah.
I'll just, and Alice, if you get pregnant, maybe name your kid Alice.
Name her Alice. Do it.
Alice
Goddamn.
Junior. Heck yeah.
Alice Junior.
There does need to be more female juniors.
There needs to be more female juniors.
Like, is that a thing?
That is the patriarchy, is that?
Yeah, like we just name our sons. Yeah, you get my name. Well, you get this. Rachel.
And then like a lot of girl names back in the day were like girl versions of like their grandfather's name.
Yeah.
It's like so
Georgina.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Georgina.
It's Brandon
at. Yeah, it's George Jr. and Georgina.
Yeah.
You're both my name.
Yeah.
You're both my name.
I'm uncreative. I'm sorry. So female junior, yeah. I play the drums. And then
go ahead.
I drum the guitar as well.
Interesting. Like, so you do like percussive
playing,
right?
So I have on my.
I should have brought my guitar. I knew I should have.
On my kick,
Mhm.
I have an electric guitar.
Whoa.
And then the neck is on my floor tom, and I have a capo on it, and I slap the shit out of it, or I'll play past the capo and it'll be muted.
Yeah.
Or I've like the little part that comes off with the pick guard and shit.
Yeah.
It's just like being chiseled away slowly.
Yeah.
And then I have an amp with so many different little settings. It's just a little bitty amp.
Yeah.
And I just play on that. And
yeah. Okay.
And then I sing.
Yeah. So how would you describe your music first off?
It's very spoken word driven.
Okay.
Very spoken word.
Percussive.
Yeah, and then the music, I would say a bit tribal.
Mm-hmm.
And a bit like a friend of mine that's a drummer described my stuff as like disco, like having like a disco sort of drum beat.
Love that a lot.
My partner, I think, would say that I play like noise punk.
I love that too.
I have a lot of like country songs that I do, or not a lot, but I have some country songs. I'd be happy to do just some like acapella something.
Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, why not?
All right. Drink a little water.
I meant to check it out before I come in, but I just ran out of time.
It's hard to find anything about female junior.
Really?
Yeah, there's no Insta page, no YouTube, no videos.
But you do have an album coming out next year.
I'm gonna make an album and
But
it's
is
gonna
it-
come out and it'll
is it
probably just be
on everything?
digital and free.
Okay,
I
good. to
bet.
hear.
And then I might come out with like 100 literal
Be on the
copies.
lookout,
Interesting.
Alice.
Yeah, female junior princessed. Princessed.
Oh, we got a title already too.
Yeah,
Nice.
princess.
Okay.
Female junior.
What's up?
All right, so this is a song, Seeking Secrets or Esoteria. It's seeking secrets of the shapes, nines and angles and circle snakes, philosophic fire, rebirth from ash, making magic symbols with maps of math, painting plants yet to be named, spiraling serpents of cosmic planes that are bound by mortar, level plumb, true and square, sun of the sun. I was born to travel, work's never done. I was born to travel, work's never done. Measured the world to heaven's gate with a pace of 518. The bean trees dream roots of snakes, while weavers weave secret shapes that are bound by mortar. Level plumb, true and square, sun of the sun. I was born to travel, work's never done. I was born to travel, work's never done. Casting linguistic spells with rhetoric alone, seeking at one mint, now atone. Bifurcated universe, mirrored window, soul, what goes up must come down. As above, so below, bound by mortar, level plumb, true and square, son of the sun. I was born to travel, work's never done.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you very much.
Man, there's a lot to that. Do you know Acid Bath?
Yeah. Yeah.
It reminds me of a particular Acid Bath song. I can't remember the name of.
Mm.
I was there on the first day. I was there on the first day, screaming at the sky. I can't remember. Can't remember.
You have this thing that the Elephant Man, whatever his name was. What's his name? Zach. What?
I don't know.
Um.
Talking about Acid Bath.
Yeah, as the lead singer of Acid Bath, he had this album. It's like no rainbows, it's raining skulls. It was cool. Dax Riggs. Is that the motherfucker's name?
Maybe.
Dax
I don't
Riggs.
know.
I think it's Dax Riggs. It was in Acid Bath. Had this thing, Dax Riggs in the Elephant Man or something like that. Fucking cool.
So, do you want to unpack that song a little bit?
Sure. So
delve into that.
So it's a lot of Freemason iconography for the most part.
My granddad was a Freemason.
Really? Okay. So it's just like some basic things I looked up. Basically, it's just written off of some basic things. So it's seeking secrets of the shapes, nines and angles. So the nines and angles is sacred geometry. It's all of your important angles and platonic shapes. The angles always add up to 9. So you have a 45-degree angle, super important cut. This cut right here, 45-degree, 4 and 5. You have a 90-degree angle, 9 and 0. You have a triangle, which is 180, which is 1, 8 and 0, which is 9. And then you have a square, 360, 360. And then it just goes on forever whenever you have these like perfect shapes. So that's the nines and angles. And then in circle snakes is the Ouroboros, like the rebirth.
Right.
And then
Born to travel, work's never done.
So the chorus is bound by mortar, level plumb, true and square, son of the sun. So bound by mortar is like the strength of the brotherhood of Freemasonry.
Okay. The whole point of Masonry.
And then level plumb is to be like a fucking good person.
Okay. Okay. Almost like a Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, and like true and square is like to be like square is solid, like 4 points of contact. Like it's son of the sun, like we're the son, we're like you have to be a male to be in the Freemasons, and you're a son of the sun of the higher power. I was born to travel. They call themselves travelers, and then work's never done, because that's like a Masonic saying, like just work's never done. There's always something more to do. You know.
What got you in like, it's a strange thing to write a song about if you're not a Freemason.
That's what I was.
What got you into that?
I was
Just research?
Yeah. I was just
It's like, what's this about? Oh, that's neat. I'm gonna write a song about it.
Yeah. So the let's see, there's make like a lot of it's just bullshit too. Like making magic symbols with maps of math. Like, that's about sacred geometry in general. And then painting plants yet to be named.
Yeah. That's a weird one.
Yeah, that's like life is so fucking like prevalent and evasive from us. Like there will still be like newly discovered plants and animals that there are all the time.
Yeah.
So that's like it's like discovery.
Okay.
It's like spiraling out, discovering, and observing nature, like being part of this world. And then it's there's philosophic fire, rebirth from ash. That's like going through your like you're learning about these things, you're becoming indoctrinated, but in order to go through with it, you have to be like mock murdered. You have to be initiated into it and be reborn, right? So you have to be rebirthed from ash, making magic symbols, maps of math, painting plants yet to be named, spiraling serpents of cosmic planes, which is Draco, which is like the very top of the sky. Is like, the serpent dragon that a lot of temples have been built after. Like Serpent Mound in Ohio is built after that.
Interesting.
All the curves in Serpent Mound each relate to a star in Draco.
Oh wow.
So it's an important constellation. And then so the next verse is measure the world to heaven's gate with the pace of 518 is 518 is how far, it's 5.18 feet is how far a pace is. It's 2 steps.
Wow.
Measure the world to heaven's gate. So that's about travel. Like that's traveling and like bringing like good and seeing good in the world. So like heaven would be like here.
When you said Heaven's Gate.
What you thought of? What?
The cult Heaven's Gate.
Oh, I didn't
know them?
No.
Oh, if I tell you the story, you guys probably know about it. It's about Heaven's Gate?
I don't think
so. So these guys, there's a famous picture. They were a suicide cult, and they all famously had Nike Airs on. It's like these specific Nikes.
Okay.
It turns out that they just got them wholesale. There was nothing special about them. Yeah, but those Nike to get those Nikes is like no, they're not Nike Airs. They're fuck. I'm blanking today. The Decades, something like that. But now they're like collector's items.
Yeah, that's
excuse me.
God bless.
Yeah. So I think now would be a good time for me to ask you, what do you think happens after we die?
After we die, okay. So I think a bunch of stuff happens after you die. So I think there's, of course, the physical things that happen. Like I think reincarnation's real in the fact that you're about to be devoured by bacteria and mushrooms and ants. And,
in a literal sense, you're being reborn.
Yeah. Into eventually just diffusing into everything, right?
Yeah.
I think maybe if there is a soul, probably something like that too. And so
that would make sense for it to follow the same path of reasoning.
Yeah. So maybe there's just a little flick of, we're just the same stuff as what all the earth and shit's made up out of, but somehow we have this, pulse and this life and this like, maybe free will. Who the fuck knows?
We got
So-
those things in our heads.
So boom, you're in a car crash, right? And then your fucking DMT's pumping. It's like, holy shit, your heart's going crazy. And then life flash before your eyes. We know this happens in a lot of near-death experiences. So I'd imagine if you actually die,
Still happening.
probably gonna be one of the last things you fucking see is, you know, like, oh, that was the first thing I ever ate. Was that Gerber fucking infant formula?
Yum.
I wish my parents would have put money into that Gerber grow up plan. Like that shit be like 18 grand I could cash out. I'd buy a goddamn Bitcoin right now.
I don't want to detract too much, but it's interesting how if you're reliving your life, right? That could be heaven or hell depending on what kind of life you lived.
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I
So
don't
it's
think
like live a good life or both. Yeah, it's going to be a mix of both. Yeah. But it could be worse or better depending on how it's like what you put yourself in. But go ahead.
I feel like it'd be like kind of a psychedelic eternal state for a moment of in the real world it's probably only, you know, seconds, microseconds. And what you might remember about your life, I mean, it's all a lie anyways. Like your memories, like, I don't know, how much coke did you do? Like, you know,
Yeah,
how much ecstasy did you do? How much of that shit
fabricated.
did you forget? And like all of it's just a story you told yourself anyway. So, but there is this extra little thing that makes us and all of life have this kind of reverse entropy thing. Talking to every culture in the world, they think that there's like a higher power and that we have a bit of it inside of us. So, and maybe it's everything, and then boom, car crashes, life flashes before your eyes, but that little bit of you, maybe, you know, and it's going into what might be
When we
beneath
say
the veil.
when we say you, we're talking about the soul or whatever's piloting the ego.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So I think that like as that's happening, as you're dying, flying out your windshield, looking at your life flash before your eyes, the veil's also coming up, but you're getting ripped out of your body as just this grain of light, right? And that everything, this is all the energy that really makes you up anyways. And so it starts slipping into a different dimension. And in this dimension is where all the things that die go. And all the time, it's like just little dots of energies collecting into this thing that everything is their souls are coming from. So this, imagine this gigantic, as big as the sun, and you're just this tiny photon going up into it, and you don't have a body, you don't have a name, you join this eternal
Nirvana.
thing, and it just kind of pets you, and it's just like, and then boom, you just fade into it, and then you're that for forever, and there's just nothing for forever. You're maybe, except for other little pieces of glitter coming
So
up,
how does
joining.
how does reincarnation come into play, or is that not a? I thought you'd said something about reincarnation.
I think reincarnation is extremely literal.
Oh! I
That-
see. I see what you
yes.
mean. Yeah, because
Yes.
you're in the way that we can observe. You
Yeah.
are.
Your body's a
reincarnating.
garden. In permaculture, everything's a garden. Everything's a gardener. Everything's a gardener. Everything gardens. Um,
It's how it works.
It's how it
Everything is
works.
growing. Everything
Yeah.
is life.
like y'all plant stuff every time you go outside, and y'all might not even think about it, but you're
Just
planting
spreading.
trees, you're planting grass, you're planting lagoons every time you go outside. You're
What do you
planting
mean?
things in the cracks of your shoes, in the mud, in the dirt.
I see what
There'd
you
be
mean.
plants.
Yeah.
Grasses are
Treading,
designed
spreading.
to have, some are designed to have little burrs on them, and then like Velcro, and you walk by and they'll stick to you, and then they go somewhere else.
Oh,
It's beautiful. It's
Yeah, so
beautiful.
everything gardens. It doesn't matter if it's a bird, if it's a rabbit, if it's a person that's eating McDonald's and like whatever.
yeah.
You can be Uber driver and be planting hackberry trees, because they get stuck in your tires.
I got one in the backyard. I hate it. Fuck hackberry trees, dude. I hate them. I park my car under that shit.
It's so beautiful. So beautiful.
I do like hackberries. I love trees. So I think that's basically what happens when you die. Could I share with you a song that is about
Please.
these moments?
Please.
All right, Alice. So I'm gonna get up a little bit for this one. Or maybe not. I don't know. Take my hand. Don't be afraid. Step on up. Right this way. Take a deep breath. The last of your life. Remove the veil. Blinding your eyes from esoteria. Esoteria. From esoteria. Esoteria. Without a body, without a name, there's no returning from this astral plane. Merkaba spinning, geometric light. Enter the Godhead of eternal time and esoteria. Esoteria. And esoteria. Esoteria. Teach me the secrets, show me the shapes, find me the angles, teach me the ways, sing me the notes, cast me the spell, show me the colors, would you tell me the sounds of esoteria. Esoteria.
Hell yeah.
Wow, man.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
The veil. Esoteria.
I call my particular art style grunge esoterica.
Grunge esoterica.
Yeah. Esoteria, I think, is an interesting. Where are you? Just is that this a description of what's coming or what's being ripped away?
It's the esoteria is like the world of occult and hidden knowledge that's unreachable to us as humans. And so
then
it's like
open to you at that point.
But you're dead and it's too late.
Mhm.
So it's like, I want you to show me show me the tesseracts. Like, what does a fucking tesseract look like? Show me these infrared colors. Show me these sounds, because we can only hear from these decibels to this decibels. What does these sounds sound like? Like, what are all the things that are beyond the perception of a human and now that you're dead, can you tell me those things?
Yeah.
Is basically what the song's asking.
Yeah.
It's inviting you to die, letting you take on and absorb into the Godhead, and then it's asking you your advice on what those secret things are, but you'll never get the answer back.
So do you think there is a meaning to life? Do you think?
Yeah. I think it's very personal for everyone. And I think that it's not about searching necessarily. It can be for someone, but I think that it's like a friend of mine, he made a thing called and I got to be a part of it, called Finding Meaning in the Suffering. And it was like poems and some art and some pictures. And I don't look at it as finding meaning in the suffering. Like I am a maker. I make things.
Hmm.
And I make meaning
Yeah,
in life.
that's what you're here to do. I like that philosophy.
My meaning is to have connections with people that feel important and real and genuine, like like meaningful. I'm using meaningful to describe. I use the definition of meaningful for meaningful.
Are you familiar? Go ahead.
I feel like that's the job of all artists. I feel like they should feel that way. They should embody that. That it's,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Ramdas?
Yeah, it was like Tim Leary and Ram Dass doing some stuff, and then he like went off to India and wrote "Be Here Now."
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. Is you're very present. You're a very clear-minded person. I think maybe I struggle with that because I'm a colossal stoner. That probably doesn't help.
Oh, dude, I'd be ripping.
Same.
I take I take softies. Is what I call them. Just get off camera. Hey Jamie, I'm coming back here with you, okay?
Yeah. So I don't know if I've ever asked you this, Ethan. Do you have any ideas about what happens after we die?
So I change every day on what I feel like happens after death. My broad usual answer is just generic, plain, and I'm never satisfied with it, but it's the answer I give people. You just everything stops. You die. You have your DMT trip, and you become one with, well, depends on how you go. If you're cremated, you're gone through ash or preserved until whatever happens. And I just feel like the brain chemicals fade, and I'm never satisfied with that answer. I'm really not. I'm very interested in looking for that answer and finding out what happens. I was very like intrigued with. I never thought about it. Every culture does have some sort of like there is a higher being and it is part of them, and that can't just be human nature. That there has to be something in there, like, and we're all connected. We all feel it, and it's just.
I see what you mean. Like trees are alive. There's something in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all communicate. They all have their own like perspective of how time works, and they're communicating. And
it's not the same as us, but like even people aren't the same. You know?
Right.
Like we probably actually perceive the world very differently, like with our senses. Maybe not very differently. Obviously, there's got to be a medium.
From other people or other animals?
From other people too, was kind of my point. Like
yeah.
For the most part, we probably observe things. Let's say vision, right? We probably observe things within a like certain like scale of each other. Like there's a line where we're all in this, but it's like my idea of green is I have no idea what your idea of green is, except a little bit, right? Because it's like, well, not really. Well, actually, it would have to affect your entire color structure because
everyone's all the colors could be different for everyone.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Because if I'm
and
like,
we just have the names.
They're set up the same. Like that still is reflecting that.
Because if I'm like, yes, because blue and yellow will make green, and it's like, yeah, but what is blue and yellow?
Yeah, because it could be like purple and orange. It could be whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
It's a very interesting, like,
life's weird, man. Life is very strange, and now is a weird time to be alive. And I feel like every generation probably says that, but like it's true in our case because we are at the beginning of this tech boom. Like we've
Yeah.
only had automobiles for 100 years. We've only had the internet for like 50 or less. Or well, the government's had a version of the internet longer than that.
and
But
its explosion is insane.
and we are just seeing the beginning of it. Like the
Yeah.
generation to come after us is really at the tip of the iceberg because
We're definitely in the age of magic. It's a magic age
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And going into the age of Aquarius is just like,
yeah, I love that you
Whoa.
say it's the age of magic too, because it's so magic is everywhere. It's so everywhere
It's everything
that no one sees it. You know what I mean?
when it's
It's-
6 inches from their face.
They're looking for like magic is over there. It's I can't see it. It's over there. And it's this thing. It's this thing. It's this thing.
Yeah.
It's this. It's what we're doing right now.
It's pretty magical that I'm not my eyes aren't flickering in my head and I'm having a stroke because I'm in so much awe of being alive
That's a very
at
magic.
all.
How are you
Like,
not
we're not just
How
fucking
am I
freaking out?
freaking the
Like,
fuck out?
Yeah.
Like,
Also,
When you-
subconsciously, we're all keeping our bodies together with all these
just holding it
cells
together. Just,
with mostly empty space between them. We're just keeping our like electric magnetic field together.
dog, most of you ain't even you. Most of you is bacteria.
Yeah, true,
Most
true.
of you's not even your own DNA.
Yeah.
It's like
They're fucking bacteria.
90% of us is not us, or is it 70?
I think it's
Somewhere-
75.
Yeah.
But we're like 80% water, 90% water.
It's like,
So-
what are we?
But
What
we're made
part-
up of all the stars, made up of all the elements.
So this will be fun. Let's create a like projection for like the next 100 years. What do you think 100 years from now the world's gonna be like? Will there be people, for example?
Definitely think there will be people.
Okay.
100 years from now, we'll definitely have done the Mars shit. We'll be at Mars. We'll definitely have like a moon-based thing.
hmm I mean, with AI learning, it's going to be completely unprecedented. The growth, it's
Yeah.
exponential. So there's really it's really hard to say, isn't it? If
Yeah,
assuming we get that far, we have no idea how.
Because we're
Advanced will
on
be-
we're on the S curve. Like we're going up the chart, right? Like it's like there's the fucking stone tool, there's the wheel, you got the industrial revolution, and then it's like computer, and then it's just like straight up.
Yeah,
Yes.
off the fucking chart.
Yeah.
You
And
can't see
it's
it.
not
Yeah.
stopping.
Yeah, exactly.
We got Rocco's basilisk to worry about, or build, excuse me.
Oh, is this the AI that doesn't exist yet?
Yeah,
Dude, I've heard about this.
we-
I love this idea.
we gotta make Rocco a basilisk.
Can you tell Alice about it? I don't think we've talked about it on the show.
So Rocco's basilisk, I'm probably pronouncing the name wrong, but it's this basilisk. It's basically a metaphor for religion. Like if you don't help build this basilisk, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It will forever torture you. Like it will find your soul and rip you apart forever. And then if you help create the basilisk, you live a perfect life. Like it's just, but the basilisk is an AI that will take out.
It's so
everything.
advanced, it's affecting the past.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
just we gotta have this basilisk.
I
I'm
love
for
this
the
idea.
basilisk.
It's terrifying,
Yes.
but it's really
We gotta have
interesting. It's a fun little brain game. I like it. It's almost like it reminds me of it's very like Lovecraftian almost, like some Cthulhu old
Yeah.
god shit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like self-manifesting, what came first, the manifestation or the entity, right? It's like it's do you bring something into this world or do you birth it, you know?
Could I do a little interlude with another song here?
Yeah,
And this is about civilizations.
do it.
In a way, and it's also about sometimes you meet some unfriends that can be a bit shamany and think that they know God for some reason a bit better than you might know God.
It sounds like a
so-
preacher.
So it's called Stories. Stories come, stories go, they turn to myth as they grow old Heroes become idolized, transmogrified into demigods, immortalized on velvet thrones. They drink the plant. Now they know God. Charlatans in disguise wear holy clothes of woven lies. Too much light blinds the eyes. Too much light blinds the eyes. The counting down the judgment day. Tally your sins in the same way it has flood, will flood again. The flood is drowned in many men. Civilizations, they come, they go. They turn to dust as they grow old. Monarchs forgot in the sands of time. Not all secrets are sublime. Too much light blinds the eyes. Too much light blinds.
Dude, you're
Stories.
completely cracked, man.
That's
Fucking glitch in the matrix.
Let's we haven't even talked about. You told me that you've done salvia over 100 times.
Move past it. Move past it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll cut that out.
No, don't cut it out. I would if you had salvia here right now, I'd do it on camera. But let's keep it in.
That was
Keep it in.
Yeah. But that's that was a different chapter in your life.
That was a different chapter.
Right.
I'd smoke salvia again and I wouldn't laugh, man. I ain't fucking pissing off no spirits.
I don't think I would do salvia again. I've only done it a handful of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a good experience with salvia.
So when I was 18, salvia was legal in Kentucky, and that's why I was doing it so much. I was driving up to Kentucky. I was buying it from a place, and I'd buy a shit ton of it, and I'd come back here, and I was just sharing it with everybody.
Mentioned not pissing off spirits with salvia.
Yeah.
So what's the connection? I am ignorant to that, I guess.
So like you're not supposed to like laugh
while doing salvia.
Yeah. You're supposed to respect.
So I guess I don't know anything about salvia.
That's just what the like Oaxacan people say.
So it's a shamanistic plant. Like I don't. Like
yeah,
I know
salvia divinorum. It's the plant of youth. It's the
plant of youth. Well, what do you mean?
So like the people in this place, and I believe it's Oaxaca, Mexico, salvia divinorum grows there. It's the only place in the world that it really grows. And they take the leaves and they chew them, and they just chew them. It's just part of their culture, and they chew them, and it's a very different kind of effect than smoking.
Yeah, what people are doing now are extracting it down and like refining it into this like super potent, and then smoking it.
I mean,
which has I've done it a couple times. It is a trip. It is.
Yeah, salvia is wild. Shit, just reality just starts. Everything's melting together. You'll just become the couch, or it's a strange plant that and it brings upon a lot of hallucinations too. Okay. Just like, oh man, I'm just kind of having some flashbacks of everything. Just feels kind of like choppy when you do salvia. It's got some weird
that's interesting. In like frames.
Yeah, it's like a movie happening.
Holy
like,
shit!
Just
I wonder if that's because it's so much that you can't see it all.
Like your frames per second, just
your brain
FPS drops.
You're
moving down to 8 or 12.
Not enough processing power to run whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
I've had some similar kind of things like salvia happen on dextromethorphan too on DXM. Like Robitussin, Quercetin, cold and cough kind of stuff. So DXM, dextromethorphan, it is a dissociative hallucinogen, and you can just like buy it at the store and take it, but they usually put another chemical in there that'll make you throw up. But they used to not back in like 2003. So I was like 14. I'd buy these things and just buy like 20 of them, and then take like 10 or 12 of them, or all 20 of them. And then it was called robo-tripping. Like I've heard of robo-tripping. So that was it's a very, very weird thing. It made me speak tongues and stuff.
Oh, damn.
Let's
start with you. Do you have any ghost stories?
I feel like I have a plenty, but the only ones I really remember, like the last house I was living in, I would be followed by this fucking pillar of light that would just like creep in doorways and just stand there and like watch me. I could like walk around the room and like it would not like change. It's just a big old pillar of light to the sky. But it would stop right before the ceiling, but it go straight to the ground. So maybe it was not to the sky, but it would happen in different rooms of the house, different places, but it was always just lurking. Just
What age were you?
a year ago. This was really for, I guess it was 25,
Interesting.
26.
And it doesn't happen anymore?
It doesn't happen anymore. I don't see it was just in that house that I would see this light that would travel around.
Interesting.
It never saw it move, but it would always just lurk, and it would come in different times, and nobody else in the house would ever see it. It was just me. It was just I'm like, look, it's right fucking here. What do you mean you don't see this? I'm completely sober, no alcohol, no nothing. It's just fucking, and the only like drugs I've done are like weed and mushrooms. So it's like, I don't know.
What about you, Dakota? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I've had some weird experiences. I've had times where I've just had weird experiences with like electronics. But the thing that comes to mind the most, I was about 7 years old. I was staying at my friend's house. We're camping. We had a tent inside of a tree house, and we were looking out. There's like a full moon, and in the backyard, there's somebody digging a fucking grave and burying somebody.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and it's just like not actually happening, but we both saw it. And like the next day, there's like not shit. But also in that backyard, so is where I grew up. My parents, my grandparents, they got a divorce when I was like 5. But I met my best friend while I lived there. And we're best friends to this day. We've been friends for 29 years. And met on this brick wall playing with Xeno Squad toys. And back in the woods, there's a plastic chair, an ID, a combat knife, and then some like a bikini like hanging up in a tree. Those are like real artifacts that we found around that same time too. Um, weird. I had a bunch of I had night terrors from the age 11 to the age of 18 that were reoccurring. Probably happened like 30 times. And I'd be asleep, and I'd get this weird presence, and then I'd wake up and I'd look at the silhouette of my door, and there's light coming through my door, but all the other rooms pitch black, and there's light coming out of the door. It's just like a portal of light, and then all of a sudden this silhouette of a figure would appear. It would be a big bulky man would appear in the doorway, and then he had a knife. You couldn't see the dude, he's all black, but his knife, he held it backwards, so the blade was like that, and he held it in his hand and it reflected. And then he'd take a step forward into the room, and then he'd take a step sideways into the darkness, and then boom, I'd be fucking out of the bed, out of the room, down the stairs, unlock the doors, out of the house, standing in the middle of the fucking street. The alarm would be going off for the house and stuff. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's not that entity, but that it's interesting how common the paralysis and the visions. Like I have a friend that happens to. It's like yeah, there's different names, different like apparitions, but that's a very interesting thing that happens to people.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was just telling me the other night that something was tugging on his feet, and he felt like it was trying to tug him out of him.
Oh shit!
Tug him out of him.
Out of him. Like grab him out of him. Like it
Oh,
was tugging on him,
jeez.
but it wasn't strong enough to like. It wasn't trying to like pick up his body. It was trying to like pick him out of his body.
Oh,
No,
I had
thank you.
You guys want to hear my the last DMT trip I had?
Yeah.
So I'm not even so sure this is the most interesting one, but this is the most recent one. So I've completely blasted through, and I was in this place. I think there it was like open, and there was like space above me. So like imagine a room that's just in space, kind of like 2001 Space Odyssey, and like there's like black and white checkers, um, patterned, and I remember seeing like ivy and like weeds coming through cracks in the tile, and there was a big fountain, and there was a water fountain, but the water was still. It's like time was still there, and I didn't see any entities, but I felt this like presence getting closer, like getting stronger, like a humming, and it like washed over me, and it felt like really good to be in its presence, but it was like ego dissolving. I'm integrating with it. I'm becoming it. And it's like don't resist, like become me, like integrate with me. And I realize I have this really intense rush of deja vu. And I'm like, I've met this thing before and I forgot about it.
mm,
And I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. But then it doesn't, I want to be really clear, it doesn't do anything to make me uncomfortable. It was a good experience up until that point. But in the something, my intuition was like, hey, this feels great, but what if like it's like something like heroin and it's like this isn't good for you to do, like not good for you. It feels good, but it's not good for you. There's plenty of things like that. And
Yeah.
it's like I'm like, can I was kind of communicate like, hey, can you like give me some like reassurance or kind of like affirmation that this you're not trying to hurt me. Um and I get this kind of like crooked grin feeling and like a shoulder shrug, like I don't know, maybe I am, maybe I'm not, and I'm like,
it's kind of a
all the,
trickster god or
yeah,
something.
and all of a sudden I'm just like, what the fuck? And I'm kind of like, okay, uh, I don't really know if I fuck with you, and I'm like, why can't you like just show me that you're on my side? And it's just like fucking with me like a jester, and I'm like, okay, fuck you, and I open my eyes and poor Danny. Danny's sitting on the couch next to me. I open my eyes and I just start yelling. I'm like, me, me, and like identity, like just like affirmations that like, and when I do that, I like feel more present. My visuals actually back down to like, and I was so deep. I can't believe I was able to actually open my eyes and but anyway, as soon as this started happening, my memory of it is vanishing very, very quickly.
Mhm.
And I'm like, that's what this thing does. If you don't integrate with it, it makes you forget about it. And I'm like, I have to tell someone about this because I'm going to forget about it. And I was thinking, if I talk about it, I'm going to remember talking about it. So I'm like, Danny, I got to tell you something. I'm like, there's this thing that it's not all the time when people do DMT, but there's this thing that's kind of parasitic and preys on people who open up that door. Um, and I don't know that this thing had any could hurt me or wanted to hurt me, but I just had this feeling of like I don't know that this is a good thing to do. So I'm actually at a weird point where I don't know if it is a good thing to do, and I don't know if I'm going to do it again. But that being said, I've had some really great experiences, and that was probably the only one that really terrified me like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting asked to merge with with it. That's kind of
Yeah. It was very like rapey about it. Like, no, you're like it was like fighting me for my will. And I was like, I don't. And like at that point it was a fight, and I'm like, okay, fuck you. And I like, and like I realized in that moment too, that's what spellcasting is. It's like I'm saying, like affirming my resolve and my identity by saying it, by uttering it. Because this is to my head until you do something.
Yeah.
And that backed it off. And that's my mom used to say, like, if you ever feel like a dark presence or like some dark entities messing with you, you can call on the name of Jehovah, and that will. And I'm a firm believer in that, because if you believe that's true, then it's true. That has power because you believe it.
Yeah, you can call on God to have your back. Absolutely.
If you're a man of faith. Yeah.
Or well, I would say, like, I don't know if I think I've got a lot of faith. I've got my faith's the size of like a pea seed when you need like a mustard seed size of faith. You know, like I got a pea size seed of faith. It's huge. All right. I got a lot of fucking faith.
Let's all whip our faiths out and compare.
But then like my faith and my knowledge of what God is absolute zero. You know, my faith for that I'm in this reality, and that there's this stuff happening, and that I'm a part of things, like that faith is huge. And I'm like, it's kind of like, it's my playground. I can do what I want with it. It's my life. I'm gonna die. I think about death every day, all the time. And I'm like, this is it. Like, let's get on with it and fucking do something. Because like, you're gonna be dead.
Memento mori, remember that you will die. Like do Shia LaBeouf, just
do something.
Do it, man. Yeah, you're a great leading example of that. You want to do something, you fucking do it.
Yeah. And to me, like, success is a thing where like I feel successful in the endeavors that I do, but success is different for everyone, right? So if you say like, you know, I love doing art or whatever, you know, I think I'll be successful if I make $10,000 a year, $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year. You know, if you reframe it and you say like, I'll be a successful painter if I make paintings.
Yeah.
I'll be a successful artist if I create art.
Yeah. So you get to have drive and also enjoy your life and be happy. That's it. That's the thing. Yeah, man. I've had such a good time talking to you guys. We're kind of hitting the end of our time. We used to do these longer, but for the algorithms, I've noticed that people, not the algorithms, but like
for the DMT algorithm.
Yeah. Retention span, people like to hang out for an hour and a half, then Alice gets sleepy. But I love you guys. You're good people.
This is great.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be back again soon.
Of course.
And I would love to have you back again.
That'd be great, man. Check out Freia Farm, the 6 battle boards, Sleeze comic, and go to the Wedgwood Houston Art Crawl, 507 Hagen Street, the Pack and Plant, first Saturday every month. And I'll paint a picture of you and you, Alice, in your portrait for free. But tip me.
Don't be late.
Don't be late.
See you, Alice. See you next week.
Bye.